never expects the moment their life changes to arrive quietly. It doesn't come with warning music or a sudden crack of thunder. It slips in through the ordinary, through a Tuesday evening, a half-warm dinner, a phone left face down on a kitchen counter. That's how it happened for Lena. The house was calm, in the way married homes often are after years together. Not passionate, not cold, just settled. The dishwasher hummed softly. The living room lamp cast a tired yellow glow across the couch. Outside, the neighborhood was silent, except for the distant bark of a dog and the faint rush of cars far beyond the trees. Leo was in the shower upstairs. Lena stood alone in the kitchen, drying her hands on a dish towel, staring at his phone. She hadn't meant to look. That mattered to her, even later, when everything unraveled. The phone had vibrated once, short, sharp, out of place. Instinctively, she glanced at it, expecting a spam alert or a group chat notification. Instead, she saw a preview banner slide across the screen. Unknown. Contact. I can't keep doing this. Not like this. Her breath caught. The message disappeared almost immediately, replaced by the lock screen photo, a picture of the two of them from years ago, smiling on a beach that felt like it belonged to a different lifetime. Lena didn't touch the phone. She told herself she wouldn't, but the words stayed lodged in her chest, heavy and unfinished. I can't keep doing this. Doing what? The house suddenly felt too quiet. The dishwasher's hum sounded louder. The upstairs shower ran longer than it should have. Lena had never considered herself the jealous type. 12 years of marriage had sanded down the sharp edges of suspicion. Leo was predictable, reliable, almost painfully transparent. That was what frightened her, because whatever that message meant, it didn't belong in the life she thought she knew. From the outside, they were unremarkable, in the safest way possible. They met in their 20s, married before 30, bought a modest house in a tree-lined suburb. They hosted polite dinner parties, remembered birthdays, paid bills on time. They weren't dramatic people, that's what everyone said. They didn't fight loudly, they didn't storm out. Their disagreements were quiet, logistical, tucked away behind closed doors. If there was distance between them, it arrived slowly, like water seeping into wood. No single moment to point at, just the gradual erosion of touch, of long conversations, of the feeling that someone was really seeing you. Lena noticed it first in the silences. Leo used to talk about everything. Work annoyances, half-formed ideas, things he read at 2 a.m. Now he spoke in summaries, bullet points, finished thoughts with no room for questions. She told herself it was stress. She told herself everyone went through this phase. She told herself not to be the kind of wife who checked her husband's phone. The shower shut off. Lena startled. She stepped away from the counter just as the phone vibrated again. This time the screen lit up fully. Another message. Unknown contact. You promised you'd tell her. Her hands went cold. Lena didn't remember deciding to pick up the phone, but suddenly it was in her hand. The passcode. Muscle memory. She hated that she knew it, hated that it worked. The message thread opened. There were only a few texts, short, fragmented, like conversations interrupted mid-breath. I can't keep doing this. You said it wouldn't go on forever. You promised you'd tell her. Lena scrolled. There were no hearts, no explicit words, no photos. But the absence of evidence somehow made it worse. This wasn't a fling, drunk on novelty. This was something heavy, ongoing, something that hurt. Footsteps sounded overhead. Panic surged through her chest. Lena locked the phone and placed it back exactly where it had been, her hands shaking as if she'd touched something alive. Leo came downstairs minutes later, towel around his shoulders, hair damp, relaxed. Hey, he said casually. You okay? She nodded too quickly. Yeah, just tired. He smiled, kissed her forehead. passed right by her to grab a glass of water. She watched him the way you watch a stranger who happens to be wearing your husband's face. That night, Lena barely slept. Leo fell into an easy, untroubled rest beside her, his breathing even, familiar, the same man she'd trusted with her life. She stared at the ceiling, replaying the messages again and again. You promised you'd tell her. Tell her what? An affair was the obvious answer, the expected answer, the one her mind kept circling back to, like it wanted to get the pain over with. But something didn't fit. There was no secrecy in his schedule, no unexplained absences, no guarded behavior, except lately, the quiet. This felt different. By morning, Lena had convinced herself she was overreacting. She would watch, wait, gather certainty before breaking her own heart.
2 days later, the message came while Leo was at work. This time the contact name appeared. Evan. Lena sat on the edge of the bed, phone heavy in her palm, pulse roaring in her ears. Evan. A man's name. The message was longer. I saw her today. She deserves the truth. I can't be your secret anymore. Lena felt something inside her collapse, not explosively, but inward, like a building sinking into itself. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She felt foolish. Of course. It wasn't another woman. It was something worse. That evening, she didn't yell. She didn't throw the phone. She waited until dinner was finished, until the plates were cleared, until there was nowhere for the conversation to hide. Who's Evan? She asked quietly. Leo froze, not dramatically, just enough. The silence that followed was heavy, deliberate. He sat down slowly, like his body knew something his mind was still catching up to. You saw my phone, he said. It wasn't a question. Yes. He closed his eyes. For a long time, he said nothing. When he finally spoke, his voice wasn't defensive. It was tired. I was going to tell you. Lena laughed softly, the sound breaking in her throat. You all say that. Leo looked at her then. Really looked. No, he said. This isn't that. Leo didn't confess to an affair. He confessed to a past, a life before her, one he had buried so deeply, even he pretended it didn't exist. Evan wasn't a lover. Evan was his brother, a brother Leo had cut off over a decade ago, a brother he'd let believe he was dead. Lena stared at him, confused. You said you were an only child. I was, Leo said quietly. After. He told her everything, about growing up in a house where silence was safer than truth, about a father who ruled with unpredictability, about a childhood that trained him to disappear. Evan was younger, braver, louder. Evan tried to leave, Leo stayed. Until one night, one moment, when everything shattered. Leo didn't tell her the details. He didn't need to. Some things live better unspoken. All Lena knew was this. Leo ran. Evan didn't. And for years, Leo believed that was mercy, until Evan found him. Evan hadn't come back for revenge. He came back because he was dying. Terminal, measured in months. He wanted closure, truth, a family that didn't pretend he never existed. Lena listened as her anger slowly lost its shape. This wasn't betrayal. It was fear. Leo hadn't been cheating. He'd been unraveling. I didn't want to bring it into our life, he said. I didn't want you to look at me differently. She already was, but not in the way he feared. Lena met Evan once, in a quiet hospital room that smelled like antiseptic and resignation. He looked nothing like Leo, thinner, sharper, eyes too old for his face. He smiled when he saw her. So you're real, he said softly. Lena understood then. The message wasn't about secrecy, it was about time. I can't keep doing this, because there wasn't much left. Evan died 6 weeks later. Leo cried in a way Lena had never seen, not loudly, just completely. Their marriage didn't break. It changed. Some cracks don't destroy the foundation. They reveal it, Lena still remembers the message, the moment her life almost split in two, and how the truth, when it finally came, wasn't what she expected, but it was heavier and somehow more human. Sometimes the scariest thing you can find on someone's phone isn't proof that they're lying to you. It's proof that they've been carrying something alone for far too long. If this story made you pause, if it surprised you or made you think differently about marriage, tell us what stood out to you in the comments. Did you expect the truth, or did it change the way you see silence inside a relationship? If you enjoyed this story or learned something from it, please like the video. It helps this channel reach more couples who need to hear stories like this. And if you don't want to miss the next one, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because some stories don't just entertain us, they remind us to look closer and listen longer. We'll see you in the next story.